Hey there, welcome. I hope you're doing well. I'm Shauna, your counseling astrologer. This is your weekly astrology forecast for the week of July 25th through the 31st. So this week is all about your growth and discovery. We have some aspects that are involving Mercury with some of the outer planets. We have a new moon in Leo, and then we have a really supportive and lucky aspect involving the Sun and Jupiter. So I am excited to talk to you about these aspects as well as 3 tips plus an extra one to make the most out of this week. So we'll start with what I'm considering the toughest transits. So first we have Mercury making an aspect to Mars and Uranus. And then it's also making an aspect to Saturn. So early in the week, Mercury in Leo is going to square Mars and Uranus. And so this is kind of a challenging aspect, kind of a dynamic, very action-oriented. This is very much about conflict resolution, especially when it comes to communication. So Mercury is all about our communication, but also our thought process and our inner dialogue as well, what we're consciously thinking about. And so when Mercury makes a square, which is a tense aspect, makes things kind of like where it feels like we have to either we have to decide between 2 different things, or the things that we want are in conflict with one another. It's making this conflict kind of aspect to Mars, which is about physical action and wanting something right now, as well as Uranus, which is about surprises, things happening totally unexpectedly. And this can be in a way that's very pleasing, that we like that unexpected innovation, but it can also be kind of jarring and shocking. For those of you that are into tarot, I always think of Uranus as like the Tower card, and that is definitely an energy that's present with this aspect. So this is sort of like keying us into Mars and Uranus being conjunct next week. So we're going to talk about that more next week, but this is kind of initiating us into this phase of Mars-Uranus, which is very much about change happening very quickly. And it can also show where there's like a tendency to rush, and then for things to sort of get kind of like tripped up when we rush too quickly. So that brings us to the other part of this Mercury situation. Mercury is going to oppose Saturn. Now, Saturn is about structure, it's about slowing down, creating boundaries, creating limitations, and it's about success coming when we do things one step at a time over a long period of time. Now, when we have Mercury opposite Saturn, this can kind of add to this level of like tension, and I would even venture to say frustration, where it's like it can feel, I think it may feel this week like you really want to get things done and to make that change very quickly, Mars-Uranus, but there is a need to go slowly and thoroughly, Saturn. And this need, the opposition is kind of where it's like, you're like, oh, like if I can just get to that thing, if I can just get to that accomplishment, then I'll feel like a sense of relief and release. But ironically, Saturn is going to support you through slowing things down. So I don't want to say that you're going to be stressed or agitated or anything like that. And I want to share that's a potential this week. So I'll have more information in the tips on how to work with this energy, but I just want to normalize that it is kind of like an angsty kind of time right now, this week and next week, with that Mars-Uranus. Now, the other piece of this is that we have a new moon that's happening this week. So this new moon is happening at 5 degrees of Leo, 5 degrees and some change. It's exact on Thursday, July 28th at 10:55 a.m. Pacific time. That is 1:55 p.m. Eastern time. And then if you're in Australia, it's happening on Friday the 29th at 3:55 a.m. Australian Eastern Time. So the new moon in Leo is about this new fresh beginning wherever you have Leo placed in your chart, or wherever you have Leo in relation to your own natal moon. So that's going to be very different for everyone. Regardless of that, the Leo aspect of this is the Leo part of this is that it's about feeling adored and feeling loved and feeling expressive, joyful, and like expressing yourself for the pure sake of expressing what it is that you have to offer that's unique, and having fun with it and being playful. So often around the time of the new moon, the days leading up to it and the couple days afterwards, we can feel sort of a lull in energy. It's usually a more introverted time. So even though Leo is this bright, extroverted energy, usually there's nuance to things, always, in astrology and in life. There's always multiple layers that combine to create a unique recipe or meal that is our life. So this particular flavor of Leo energy is going to be a bit more quiet, and so I want you to really notice what's coming up for you. Especially when we're talking about Leo, we're also talking about that precious inner child kind of energy. It's sort of vulnerable and tender, that desire to be loved and the desire to play. So those are all themes that may come up. And again, definitely check the house that this is landing in for you, because that's going to tell you about the area of life where there is a new fresh start, a new beginning that's being initiated this month that will elaborate itself and continue to grow over the next 30 days, and then also over the next 6 months until we have a full moon culmination in Leo in February next year. Now the other, what's connected to this new moon, so whenever we have a new moon or a full moon, any lunation, we always look at the other planets that are connected in by aspect. And in this case, this is the sun, which is a part of the new moon, right? The sun is trine Jupiter. So this is like a really sweet, supportive, lucky, and beneficial and auspicious aspect. So the sun being energy, life force, your consciousness, I don't want to say your conscious identity, but it's like the conscious part of you that animates you, is making a super supportive aspect to Jupiter, which is about opening opportunities, expanding your mind, expanding your life, and having a sense of optimism. Jupiter is in the sign of Aries, so this is like a very fast fire kind of situation, a lot of passion. So this week is a fantastic time to start new things, if we're talking about like electional charts and electing a time to begin something new, it's a fantastic time for starting a new business, or starting a new product launch, or beginning a new way of doing your business, or starting a new practice, whether that is a spiritual practice or a new like self-care kind of practice, or anything like that. I hope you get what I'm saying. It's a good time for starting new things, because whenever we begin something, the energy of that moment is present within that thing. So even like when I am making this video right now, I didn't today, but I could look at the planetary hour and the aspects that are happening now, and that energy is going to be present within this video, just because it was made at the time that those transits were active. Anyways, I digress. So I hope you get what I'm saying. So it's kind of an interesting mix this week. We have this kind of like tension here with the Mercury, Mars, Uranus, and Mercury, Saturn. Then we have the new moon, which is about a fresh start. And then we have Jupiter and the sun connecting really supportively to allow you to expand and improve and to feel a sense of joy and optimism here. So I have 3 tips for you to make the most of this. Number 1 is to, especially early in the week, wrap up loose ends. So get all this stuff done. This is very like dark moon energy, the days before the new moon. So like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Do the stuff that needs to get done that you just don't want to deal with anymore. The stuff that you don't want to continue to put your energy and time into going forward. If you can get it done, to get it off your plate, do it. Tip number 2 is to be patient, Saturn, and flexible. So I'm saying flexible because we have Mercury connected to the Mars Uranus. Uranus is like, we don't know what's going to happen. So like having a flexible kind of mindset for this week is really going to help you. It's going to make things a lot easier for you. It's important to plan, but then also be able to pivot. And tip number 3 is to expand your world. So maybe you aren't planning on starting something new this week, but I want you to think about it. If you could expand your world in some way, even if that's just by buying a different book or checking out a podcast or something to expand yourself, and that's going to help you connect into this very beneficial energy of the Sun and Jupiter together. The extra tip for you that I was thinking is, I was like, oh, I want to talk about how this week especially, I think anytime, but this week especially, you can use Jupiter planetary hours to time things. So I'll put a link below to an app that I use that helps you with planetary hours. So planetary hours is basically, there are certain hours throughout the day that are associated with each planet. And I think I've made a video about this a long time ago. I'll put it in the link below if I can find it. But basically, it's this idea that anytime that you do something, you're tapping into the energy of the moment. And planetary hours is a really great way to channel beneficial energy into when you're doing new things. So that's just something, again, I was like, oh, expand your world. Check out planetary hours. That might be a cool little technique for you to check out. All right, I'm wishing you a wonderful week, and I'm sending you lots of love. Please remember that I offer astrology readings, and so if that's something that you're interested in, you can find out more information on my website, astropsyche.net. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you soon.